Good day everyone. Let's start with our title. Our title is PDPR and COVID-19. What's the point of going to school? So basically our main objective is we want to know whether going to school nowadays is still a necessity. Before we go further, let me introduce you myself. I am Farhana and I wrote this paper together with a colleague named Murni Abdullah. So basically we both are English teachers in one of the schools in northern of Selangor, Malaysia. So here is my talking points. First thing first, I'm going to talk about the background of the study. Secondly, we're going to talk about methodology, and last but not least, I'm going to talk about our findings. Background of study. Before we go in depth, I'm going to tell you some of the words that might be jargon to some of you. 3 words actually. The first word is PDPR. What is PDPR? PDPR is a home-based teaching and learning. It was introduced in Malaysia in March 2020 because of the pandemic, right? And GPN basically is a national average grade. It is a overall grade achievement value, and SPM is a Malaysian Certificate of Education. SPM is set by secondary Malaysian students before they enter to the tertiary level of education. Okay, let's start with our background of study. Actually, there's a perception that online classes are more cost-effective way to offer some courses. It is because students and teachers don't really need to be physically in a classroom. It's a perception. During a study, the chosen media do not have any effect on the learning outcomes. Okay, this is a study by Clark 1983. Other than that, we could also say that the art of online learning design is growing around the world. And in Bloom's taxonomy, it says that students learn best when they actually involve in the learning process, which means that they need to really involve in the learning process for them to learn best. Okay, let's move to our next point. Let's be focused on our title. Based on the local newspaper, it says that our Malaysian Education Minister, Dr. Aziz says that GPN for SPM for year 2020 is 4.80. Let's compare it to the previous year's GPN, which is in the year of 2019, the GPN for SPM is 4.86. It means that 2020's GPN is lower by 0.06 points, which means that 2020's SPM result is better than 2019's result by 0.06 points. We could say that despite of facing many learning challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the GPN, the overall grade achievement value of SPM for 2020 has improved. Okay, let's move to our methodology. So basically this is a quantitative mode. We use questionnaires. We actually send the questionnaires via Google Form to the students. The students are the SPM candidates for year 2020. There are 63 of them. And the instrument was actually developed by based on the literatures that study the necessity of PDPR against the PDPC. PDPC here means the face-to-face learning. Yeah. So our study actually specifically examining to identify whether there was still a demand for face-to-face classes once the COVID-19 pandemic ended in the future, especially because the SPM result for 2020 shows that the increase in the students in the candidates achievement. That's why we want to know whether face-to-face learning is still required after the pandemic ends, because we could see that the SPM result is increased. So is there still a need for face-to-face learning? Okay, this is what we found we found that face-to-face sessions are still required by students. They actually more than 95% of them think that it is difficult for them to learn virtually without facing their teachers. So I can conclude that face-to-face classes should be resumed after the pandemic ends, despite of what the national examination results showed. So I think that's it from me. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.